Oh, morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. If you didn't know by now, I'm Sean. Bugsy Malone is in front of me. And it is episode, I'm not going to say I'm sure about this, but I think it's 116 of Tottenham Walks. Hope you're all happy, healthy, doing the things that you love and all that jazz. Guys, do me a favour, or several perhaps. One of them is please like the video on your way in or on your way out, or any intermittent period in between where you feel the urge. 2, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, guys. Do me a favour, please, if you haven't subscribed yet, it's free to do so. Just hit the button and show some love and support for the channel. We're close to 4K. It's all very exciting. Also, guys, if you'd like to stay abreast of the latest drops in content, then hit the notification bell. And by no means least, but lastly, if you've got something to say about this content today, you got an opinion, a take, an angle, then share it. Drop a comment below the video and we will continue the conversation. Hiya, how you doing, guys? Right, let's get going. 2 topics today, guys. 2 topics today. I'm going to start with the boring one and I'm going to come in with the controversial one that I know you're going to be rolling your eyes at, going, he can't be serious. He cannot be serious. This mug, what a moron Butler's become. But I'm going to stick to my opinion on this one. Right, let's start with the boring one. Bryan Gil, allegedly, potentially, possibly, advanced talks with Paratici. Fabio Paratici is in advanced talks with several Spanish clubs about securing the outlay, the outgoing transfer of Bryan Gil. Now, I know what you're thinking. No surprise there. No surprise whatsoever. We know he likes to play in Spain. Perhaps it's just easier to send him back to Spain on loan and then we'll see him again in the summer. Well, would I surprise you if I said actually the talks, guys, were about maybe making it permanent? Loans with obligations to buy, or straight fees, 12 to 15 million up front, up to double that in potential add-ons or sell-on clauses. Now, to me, I'm indifferent on this one. If it was just a straight loan, I'm okay with it as long as we have someone coming in. It probably increases the likelihood of Malinovsky maybe being back on the table. You know, fingers crossed for my guy Andreas Skov Olsen, someone like that. But if it's permanent, then, especially given the relative valuations, we spent about 25 million quid on him, but then when you add in the kind of residual value that was stored within Eric Lamela, let's call it 7.5, 8 million for argument's sake, then we basically paid about 32, 33 million for the skinny guy, Mr. Gil. And look, he hasn't really set the world alight, has he? Even the biggest Bryan Gil fans are probably guilty of seeing little glimpses of his brilliance, his potential, and overreacting to them because they want the story to be better than it really is. But in reality, we all think he's just a little bit too lightweight. Needs to put the strength training in at the gym. Doesn't seem to want to do it. Maybe his attitude's not quite perfect. Who knows? I don't know. Speculation. But if the idea is to sell him for 15 million, 12 million, 15 million, and then maybe recoup your overall expenditure if the guy does well in Spain, then the angle I'm taking on this one is that maybe, just maybe, Conte's contract talks are going better than expected, but have certain conditions, and that those are that he gets to, give a list of players that he doesn't see the need for in a Conte-style project. Bryan Gil might be a great player, could easily be a superb player, but Conte likes fast, physical, wide men more than he does small, technical, dribblers. And I'd be surprised if they were to sanction his sale at a guaranteed loss of, maybe 50%, unless it was part of a new project that saw Conte hanging around for 2 to 3 years. Because I don't think you would do that if you're Levy or Paratici if you're not convinced that Conte is going to be around for long and that the next manager might play a system that suits a Brian Hill type of player. I'm not sure, but that's how I'm reading it. We like to speculate on this channel. Let me know your thoughts, guys. First and foremost, do you like Brian Hill? Second of all, do you think he's a good fit for Tottenham? Third of all, do you think he should be loaned out or potentially sold? What's your take on that whole thing? And fourth, what are your thoughts on whether or not it makes sense to think if they're willing to let him go at a cut price fee, then does that increase the likelihood that Conte is in a better place with the contract talks? Stay there, I'll be back in a second. Alright guys, it's a second piece of information today. This is the bit where you're going to go, what? Stop it. Just stop it. Well, I'm going to tell you anyway. The news is that Harry Maguire might be on Tottenham's radar, and that Harry Maguire wants to leave United and he would go to Tottenham and Tottenham wouldn't mind having him. And I can tell you're already going, oh, get over Harry Maguire, slabhead. And listen, I'm going to start this one by saying he's not my first choice, okay? He's not my first choice by any stretch. I'm not sitting here going, well, Guardiola, well, he did get turned inside and out by Messi, and, Harry Maguire is not that bad. No, of course. Of course there's priorities. Of course we've got levels to this stuff. But I don't think Harry Maguire playing for Tottenham makes that little sense. I think there's some logic to it. He doesn't play very well in a back four. He doesn't. He's been ousted by the partnership of Varane and Martinez at Manchester United. I think he's played 6 times this season. But I hear you, right? He's got a mistake in him. But his confidence at Manchester United is so low. The fan base don't like him. The manager doesn't trust him. The players probably get frustrated with him. But that's in a back four. In a back three, where he plays for England, he doesn't let anybody down. He's a brilliantly offensive threat from headers from corners, something that Tottenham have very little success with traditionally. This season, with the inclusion of Perisic and his corners, we are starting to contribute with more goals with players outside of that kind of natural Harry Kane, Sonny duo. Imagine Perisic and Harry Maguire connecting. There's logic to that madness. I think he can play on the back three. He's less capable of making mistakes, less idiotic when he's playing in a back three. He could play in the middle of the back three, or he could play on the left of the back three. I think for the right price, I think it makes sense. I think defensively he's good in the air, very, very good in the air. Tottenham have always traditionally been very vulnerable aerially. Last season we didn't really concede unless we conceded from low crosses, or high crosses rather, or corners or set pieces. This season the concessions have been a little bit different, but it's still not a problem we've ever solved. You've got QT Romero, who, the one area of his game that really needs work is his heading. You can make the argument, and I often do on streams, that Emerson Royale is the best defensive header of the ball that we have, and it's only one of his very few strong talents. Jed Spence even stands out as a decent header of the ball amongst Tottenham players. It's just not an area of our game that is tip-top, either defensively or offensively. And yet Harry Maguire is excellent at that. I also, as I said already, I think that the amount of mistakes that he makes drops when he will be more confident, more of a leader, more of a bigger place in an otherwise weird defensive setup. Now, I'm not saying we should just go and get him. I still think you need to improve in the sense, if you could go and get a Skriniar or a De Vrij or whatever, put him in the middle for the solidarity and the excellence there. To have Harry Maguire, have him as a left-sided back option or someone that can play into the middle when necessary. I don't think it's a bad shout. I really don't. And I think he could resurrect his career. I know he's 29, so time isn't really on his side, but if you could get a job done for him for 20 million, right? It was only 3-4 years ago he signed for 85 million. It was the most expensive centre-back, I think, in world football. You know, and with that pressure comes difficult moments. I don't know. The more I'm talking about it, the more I think I like it. I was started this thing out as a bit of a joke, but I do want to hear your thoughts on it. I'd still like us to go and sign, you know, a bigger name, a monster in the middle, or a young, talented Antonio Silva, someone like him who can come in and participate in the competition for spaces. You know, we need 2 centre-backs. You could make the argument that you need 3 centre-backs over the next 2 years if we're going to move on Tanganga and Sanchez and, you know, one of Eric Dyer or Ben Davies or whatever, or Longley, sorry. Then you could make the argument that there's plenty of space for new faces in the defence. And I don't think Harry Maguire is that bad a shout. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Tell me if I'm crazy. I can't wait for the comments on this one. Like, share and subscribe, guys. And as always, bye-bye.